NFL Draft 2022 was full of surprise picks, and after 3 days of shocking developments and a truckload of trades, we finally concluded the 2022 draft. Draft season is super exciting because it provides an opportunity for every fan base to expect more from the upcoming season. Today, we review the NFL Draft 2022 and see the winners and losers from 3 days of trading. First up, the losers from the NFL Draft 2022. Most of the picks in this draft were very balanced and offered optimism to fans of all franchises. It's too early to say who the losers were, but there were definitely some weak picks. Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals had some troubles before the draft even began. They've got a superstar Kyler Murray who's unsettled, and it seemed like their main game was to appease their quarterback. For that reason, they traded the number 23 pick to the Ravens for Murray's former college teammate Marquise Hollywood Brown and the 100th pick. Brown's a decent player, but he's also nowhere near to being considered a standout in his peer group of receivers. That doesn't look like a promising move. With their number 55 pick, the Cardinals selected Trey McBride. He's another decent addition to their squad given how sturdy and sure-handed he is, but what about the lack of athleticism? How will he escape the defenders and cope with the tackles? It seems like two major underwhelming picks from the Cardinals. Although they did balance the scales a bit by adding depth with two more squad options. These included defensive end Cameron Thomas, the number 87 pick, and linebacker Myaj Sanders, the number 100. New England Patriots. We are very reluctant to add the New England Patriots to this list. It always seems like they've done poor business, but their picks always turn out to be hidden gems. But even after keeping in mind their history of underrated picks, the move to trade Cole Strange as their number 29 pick is extremely puzzling to say the least. We just can't make any sense of it. Strange is a decent lineman from the small University of Chattanooga and didn't allow a single sack during his college career, but he was projected to be a third-round pick at best. Draft analysts were left scratching their heads after this trade because they'd expected many other players to be on the move before Cole Strange, but Bill Belichick has a record of proving everybody wrong, so he'll be confident with his decision. Not to mention their other pick, Tyquan Thornton, was also supposed to move on the third day, but they picked him up in round 2. And for a team that has considerable squad depth, these moves were genuine head-scratchers. Failing to get in, an edge rusher and an off-ball linebacker might come back to haunt them. Justin Fields, off the back of a terrible rookie year, has been struggling to find his feet. He had no support from the players or the coaching staff, and he was probably hoping for a change in management or a chance to reload the offense with some more talent. That was the only way for him to taste more success in the upcoming season. But the Bears failed to make that happen, and he'd probably be fuming with these picks. The Bears did sign good defensive players, with both of them being their second-round picks, and signed a wide receiver in the third round as well. Although for Fields, that doesn't work well because of Velus Jones Jr. He's too close to what they've got in Darnell Mooney. Apart from that, the rest of their offensive picks are just uninspiring, and they don't offer a lot of hope for Justin Fields to do his thing in the season to come. Now for the winners from the NFL Draft 2022, New York Jets. Of course, the first name on the winners list has to be the New York Jets. Yeah, they had a pair of top 10 picks and 2 more high second rounders, but we've grown not to trust the Jets with their picks in the recent years. Joe Douglas, the GM, has been looking to reverse that trend, and Draft 2022 seemed to be the biggest stage to do it. They made some brilliant picks, and they're our biggest winners of the NFL Draft 2022. Ahmed Sauce Gardner is a fantastic pick, and so is Garrett Wilson for the top 10. However, what takes the cake, though, has to be landing Jermaine Johnson II with a trade back into the first round at number 26. It's an absolute steal, not to mention the other clever little trade they made by adding Breece Hall, who offers them options to really switch it up. The Jets will be buzzing with their drafting, and it looks like they got all their primary targets. That should be enough to put a smile on Douglas's face. We're just super excited to see Sauce Gardner in the big leagues, and we cannot wait to see him in action. Baltimore Ravens. Well, they're the undisputed champions of the draft every year. If not for the Gardner signing, we'd have placed the Ravens ahead of the Jets once again. Eric DeCosta keeps on proving his worth for the Ravens, and he's been super busy reloading the roster with some superb picks with bundles of talent and value on both sides of the ball. Honestly, we cannot stress how amazing the Kyle Hamilton signing is, by the way. He's ready to take up the mantle that has not been picked up since the retirement of Ed Reed. And that's not the only trade that got the fans excited, though. The selection of Tyler Linderbaum is so amazing. He's the best center of this year's draft, and he's going to improve their offensive line by a fair margin. Not to mention the David Ojabo pick, who could well miss the entire season with an injury, but if pre-injury projections ring true, he'd be the best trade they've made in a long time. It's good to see them showing faith in him, and we've got no doubts that Ojabo is going to do his best to repay that faith. Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles did not enjoy a great season, despite managing to sneak into the playoffs. They were destroyed in the first round by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so the Eagles decided to change their approach, and they planned to go on the offensive in the draft. Their aggressive approach paid off as they delivered a huge shock on day one by landing that speedy receiver A.J. Brown from Tennessee Titans in exchange for 2 picks. Brown and Devonta Smith together, that could be a super scary duo for their opponents because they offer a lot of downfield threat. That's not all though, because the Eagles added 2 superb athletic players in Jordan Davis, the defensive tackle, and the linebacker Nakobe Dean too. Davis is huge, and he's an accomplished run stopper at 6'6", while Dean was the winner of the prestigious Butkus Award for the best linebacker in college football. The Eagles also traded Cam Jurgens and Kyron Johnson this time, and also suddenly shifted the way people were viewing them ahead of the upcoming season. That's a lot of optimism, and the Eagles are expected to make the Super Bowl now. Now we got some honorable mentions. Kansas City Chiefs. Actually, the Kansas City Chiefs are more than just an honorable mention. Honestly, their team did an incredible job in getting the signings in, with the biggest ones being George Karlaftis and Trent McDuffie. Both are ready-made and the most polished players anyone could have picked, and the Chiefs are just lucky that they managed to sneak them in. Of course, replacing Tyreek Hill will be a nightmare, and we think that the Chiefs should have prioritized replacing him with somebody better. This isn't to say that Sky Moore isn't good enough, but they could have done better. The likes of Brian Cook and Leo Chenal are also superb additions. Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers, with the Kenny Pickett trade, have managed to sneak on this list. In any other draft of any other year, it would have been impossible to pick a player like Pickett, a franchise quarterback who can start for the Steelers right away as the 20th pick. He's a huge upgrade on Mitchell Trubisky and a much better long-term solution for that position. Credit goes to GM Colbert for finding gems in the drafts as he managed to find the perfect wide receiver on day 2 in George Pickens. And DeMarvin Leal was another super pick by the Steelers. Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson was terribly in need of some help, and with him on the move, it seems like the Seahawks finally realized they needed to change things now. Kenneth Walker III is a really good trade for them, and the likes of Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas are 2 top-shelf starting tackles for the Seattle Seahawks. They also added a few other classy picks in Kobe Bryant and Tariq Woolen, but the failure to address the need for a quarterback and passing on the opportunity to sign Malik Willis is the reason they didn't make the winners list, but definitely deserve a place on honorable mentions for sure. And that's a wrap for this video. Do you agree with our list of winners and losers from the NFL Draft 2022? Let us know in the comment section below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. I'll see you in the next one.